Hey YouTube, Untamed here. It's a little bit of a windy day out here in Wyoming. Forgive me in advance for any kind of wind noise, but today I'm going to go over everything you need to know about the brand new 2023 Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro. I'd like to apologize in advance. I just put in a spacer this morning. I'm going to be putting braces in, so I'm going to be sounding like a little bit of a goober today, but hopefully we can still get through this without being too lispy today. So we have the brand new 2023 Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro, and it is my favorite Toyota that I've ever owned. You guys know that, and for a number of reasons, but of course there are a number of pitfalls. I'm not going to take this video as an opportunity to really highlight the pitfalls or the pros so much, but really just kind of give an overview of what the vehicle is, as well as some of the details and spec numbers that I normally don't really talk about. So the starting MSRP is $76,000 roughly, right? And then when you put on delivery, processing, and handling, it quickly turns into $78,000 starting. Okay, then if you were to spec it with solar octane, that's a $425 or $450 paint choice, so a little bit more. It quickly turns into an $80,000 rig, especially when you throw on things like that roof rack, which is a $1,400 or $1,500 option by itself. One thing that I did not realize is the pano sunroof. I thought for sure that that was a more expensive option. I thought it was going to be like a $2,000 option, but it's only $500. So it's a $500 option to get the pano sunroof. You guys know I had the standard sunroof on this, and I don't know, I just thought that was going to be a little bit more. I didn't realize that. Same with the tow mirrors. You can get a tow mirror and pano sunroof option, which is I think $790 for the grouping there. You guys know I would not have chosen ice cap white as my predominant, my top color, but when it comes to Sequoias, and if you're able to get one at MSRP, beggars can't be choosers. You got to kind of jump on what you have available to you. So this here has the red soft text leather interior as well, and I really do think it is a nice combo between the white, black accents, and of course the red interior. I didn't do a video on it, but you guys can tell just looking at it right here. I recently tinted the windows, so we have 15% window tint all around. It does come with factory stained glass in the rear, so it's already kind of darker in the back windows, of course, whereas the front windows are always perfectly clear right from the factory. So not as dark in the front windows, but then much darker, of course, in the back with the factory stained glass, if that makes sense. But that's what 15% ceramic window tint looks like on the Sequoia. Some of my favorite features really of this Sequoia is really between two things. One, the wheels. I absolutely love those matte black BBS forged wheels. I'll show you here up close and personal. But the other big factor of this is really just the design cues and the body lines. I feel like so many manufacturers within this segment, the large SUV segment, they get real lazy. They just turn into boxy vehicles like Ford Expedition, right? It's just super boxy. You know, Chevy Tahoe, the Suburban, the GMC Yukon. They're all just big squares, you know, big cubes, and I just don't like that look. Whereas this, forgive me, it's pretty windy, guys. Whereas with this, they made a conscious effort to really sculpt this vehicle, and I think it looks incredible. Especially the way the body line flows into the large taillight. I think it looks awesome. And then they have the attention to detail with the TRD Pro. The TRD Pro comes spec'd with this digital camo fender flares. Let me show you these BBS wheels real quick. And they come finally with a little bit more of an aggressive tire, these Falcon Wild Peaks AT3s. So technically these AT3W tires are kind of knockoffs is what I've understood. They're not legitimate Falcon AT3Ws. It is an arrangement that Toyota had with Falcon to produce these for the TRD Pros. So a fairly aggressive tread pattern, and some people really swear by these tires being a phenomenal performer. You can kind of see it there. I'll show you up front too. These do have, all TRD Pros come with that TRD Tune Fox suspension, which feels so smooth, and that is a huge plus of the TRD Pro here. So it wasn't the best showing there. Let me show you a little better. And then of course the TRD skid plate underneath up front, standard for the TRD Pros as well. But just the overall sculpting of it, very proportionate vehicle. I've talked about that plenty, but I absolutely love just the body lines of the entire vehicle. And again, how they flow into the headlights here as well. These headlights are phenomenal. LED headlights just light up the entire road in front of you with a TRD Sport Bar LED light bar up front. The one thing I guess for you guys to know is you do need to have your brights on in order for that to be actually turned on, which I wish that wasn't the case. I wish you could just kind of push the button and it would work. But when we get in here, I'll show you where all the buttons are for those in particular. Another design cue that I really appreciate are these TRD Pro little fake hood vents up top here. I think they look awesome. We do get a little bit more of that digital camo as well up here. I think they could have made the hood a little bit cooler, perhaps with a fake hood scoop, maybe. I don't know. I have grown to appreciate those. I know it sounds awful saying it out loud, but I appreciate the look of them on Toyotas. But again, they did make that conscious effort to put the design lines through the hood there, and it looks good. My Tundra TRD Pro actually came spec'd with the clear bra up to here, the partial clear bra that goes up front here from Toyota, and I appreciate it on the black. And I'm happy that this particular one did not come with it, because no matter what, and people will tell you different things, quality PPF or not, I feel like it's going to yellow a little bit on the white vehicle. And in my experience, it always has yellowed just a little bit, to where when you're looking at it with your naked eye, you can see a little bit of a difference in color between where you have the PPF and the rest of the paint. So I'm not really a huge advocate for PPF on white vehicles. I would prefer to go ceramic coating personally. So the Sequoia TRD Pro does come spec with the running boards on here, and these are really high quality running boards in my opinion. They're kind of like what you would find on the Ford Raptor, a very durable aluminum cast running board with a very nice traction coating to it. So it's a very rough feeling and definitely excellent traction as you're stepping on it with a TRD embossed up here logo. One option that mine came with are these stainless steel paint matched door edge guards, which is I think a $150 option. But look how massive this back door is. It is huge, and that's fantastic when we're trying to get kiddos in here and really making it a family vehicle. You have it on your driver's side, your gas cap release, and you do have a release button on the inside. I think the shadow lining dark trim around the windows looks awesome on the Sequoia here. One thing to note with the roof rack is it really is noisy. So as you're driving down the freeway, it is very noticeable as you're driving around, and I'll show that to you guys in maybe one of my further videos here. You do have some matte black to the standard side view mirrors here. Of course, a lot of the Sequoias, as you guys have seen, are coming spec'd with the tow mirrors. So only a $290 option, not much expensive, not too expensive at all, but they just look like giant moose antlers, and I've never liked the look of it. So I'm very grateful that this happened to be the spec that the dealership had coming in. So I absolutely love this. We'll show you the glorious red Softex leather interior, and the more I sit in this, the more I drive it, the more I appreciate it. I've gone back and forth if I like the idea of having red interior, but I think with the black accents throughout, it really does come together quite nicely. There's a George Costanza wallet. So lots of plastic pieces and components in here, a lot of cheap feeling materials like this here, whatever. Different from the Tundra. The Tundra is side-by-side cup holders with a little bit more cubby space up front, whereas you get the more vertical cup holders up front here. Same goes for back here. You get the two side-by-side cup holders, and you really appreciate that stuff when you have 20 kids like me, exhibit A, B, and C back there. So you really grow to appreciate that kind of stuff. Not a fan of the piano gloss black right here, but a lot of companies are already making, overlays that you could put there, like matte black overlays, protective overlays that look a lot better anyway. So before I totally hop in here, show you all the details of this, I figured I'd just kind of do a kind of a wave top here, show you the tan headliner here, which is kind of a bummer. It should have been black for sure, but at least we get a sunroof in here, although the standard one. And there's your TRD Pro stitching right here. And let me know what you think of the digital camo in the seats. Personally, I think it's pretty cool. It does scream in your face though, that's for sure, with the red. One thing unique to the Sequoia compared to the Tundra is you get the black inside pieces here for the actual door handles. So that's not the case. The handles are different. You get a hard matte black handle on the Tundra TRD Pro. So just a notable difference. I didn't mention it, but also up front here, you have the the sensor to unlock it here, to lock. Obviously the key is, yeah, it's inside there, so it's not gonna let me do it. It's just gonna beep at me. But when you put your hand in here, it'll unlock. Okay, so the missus sent me on an errand. But I love the fact that it has the captain's chairs back here. It is ideal for kids when it comes to seating. You know, your oldest can walk through the back, and hopefully, I mean, we're at the age now where we have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. The 6-year-old can get back there and put herself, of course, in the booster seat, whereas my 3-year-old, he gets there in the middle, and the 6-year-old is able to help him a little bit get latched in. We still, at this age, we're still having to get in here, walk back there and tighten him up and make sure he's actually positioned correctly in the seat. So it is still a little bit of a burden. I won't try to paint it any other way, but at least it works. At least we have the 3 rows, very spacious 3rd row, and it is perfect for the kiddos seating wise. Let me make that very clear, because beyond that 3rd row, we talked about it before, is not ideal space. And if you have this many kids in a car, you're likely going to have some luggage with you. You're going to have strollers with you, right? and it is, let's see here. It is not ideal because you cannot put a stroller back here unless you have a little tiny little mini stroller. Yeah, it's just not going to work. So this is the bummer of the vehicle. Will we likely still have to get a Sienna or, you know, a larger extended vehicle at some point? Probably, but it works for now. I wouldn't necessarily love taking this on a long trip with the entire family. It would not be ideal. We would have to use the roof rack, strapping stuff to it, if we're going to actually take everything we quote-unquote need for an extended trip. This you guys seen here before. You can pull up this entire wood piece here, this panel, entire thing here, and actually place it on top in different rungs to give you a little bit more staging, shelving, if you will. But even then, it doesn't help the situation, right? It doesn't help the fact that it is such a tiny space back here. I talked about this in one of my videos before too. As a parent, sorry, I'm kind of talking to parents, but you know, you only have one of these receiving hooks for a car seat, which is why we have my son right here in the middle. In a perfect world, we would not put our 2 kiddos, oldest kiddos, right next to each other, crammed in the back. Right? You would put them one right here, one right there. There's a way for us to do it. We would just be using our seatbelt though, and it's not as safe. So we took the safer measure, put them here, and actually put them in the latch back, right? It should have one back here, one right there, and one right there. It should have 3. And I was kind of shocked to see that it didn't. It's kind of a bummer. So I'm not going to talk about all the negative things per se. Let's focus on good things. So it being that large 3rd row vehicle, you do get these vents back here, which, again, as a parent, it is important to have that rear vent controls up front, and very easy to use, and I can show you that when I pop out there. Here is the close. Super straightforward, pretty slow retracting rear hatch here. I do wish they would have put TRD Pro back here, like a little badge, and maybe got rid of the whole Sequoia thing here. I think that would look cleaner, would look cooler, and I would appreciate it. And I'm not really about, I don't know. I would have appreciated at least a very small effort to show that it was the Pro, so the big dog. All right, show you back here one more time. Gosh, it really is getting windy. I'm sorry, guys. So again, this is very disappointing, just how cheap it feels, but it's Toyota at the end of the day, and they spent more time and effort making this very complex, advanced power plant come to life. The hybrid IForce Max twin turbo V6 power plant, cranking 437 horsepower and 583 foot-pounds of torque, which is incredible. Not having the pano sunroof, we get about an inch of additional headroom. So something to note is you can see it kind of indents upward toward the back here, and even a little bit more in the back there. You can kind of see it pops up a little bit more. But you get a tiny bit more headroom not having the pano. Let me show you this. I've never showed you guys this before, but here are your controls. So I look like a real winner if anybody sees me from outside. So here are their controls back here. They're going to adjust their temperature and whatnot, and fan speed, of course, over there. Okay. We'll talk about the side view mirrors a little bit here. We do have the blind spot monitors, which is great. Mrs. Untamed loves having that, and they do actually what's the word I'm looking for? They darken a little bit when it's nighttime. You get bright light shining in it, so it will actually adjust a little bit for you, so you're not getting blinded at night by the cars behind you. Absolutely love this. I've been a huge fan of this since day one. You guys might not agree with me on that, and I'd understand if so, because it is kind of maybe a little overdone and kind of tacked on, perhaps as an afterthought, but I like it. I love the leather wrapped shift lever here with the red stitching or red leather down the middle. I think it looks cool, looks sporty, and appropriate for the Pro, in my opinion. But again, this is all very cheap plastic. I appreciate the fact that both sides have the grab handle. That's great. Same goes for the back as well. You can kind of see it there. So that's good. So they made a conscious effort to kind of add some additional leather throughout it with some red stitching. It looks great. We do have some gray stitching up here. I didn't really highlight that before, but gray and red stitching throughout this, which looks awesome. Your sunroof controls are up here, as well as your lights. Pretty standard stuff. And let me hop in side here. Pop, pop, pop. So this right here, I do wonder how this is going to hold up over time, this gloss black right here. Because oftentimes when you shut the door, you're grabbing it right here, and if you're constantly kind of grabbing at it, it's going to wear, and you're going to see a lot of micro scratches on the gloss black, similar to what you'd find on the piano glass black in here. Let me show you seat controls, plenty of adjustability here, as well as lumbar support too. The one thing that I have not experienced in this, and what I have experienced in my Tundra, is I get some creaking within my Tundra. Like legitimate creaking of the lumbar support mechanism, perhaps it's getting a little wonky or loose or something within it. From day one, I've had a creaking sound and feeling as I'm driving down the road. It's kind of annoying on a day-to-day basis. I do not have that in my Sequoia here. There's some of your side controls here for that TRD light bar. The rear lights off the hatch, automatic high beams. You pop that, it'll high beams on and off at nighttime when you get oncoming traffic. Your gas cap release. This glorious button here is magical. Living here in Wyoming, so you get the heated steering wheel, which is fantastic. Same goes for, well, I should mention too, it's kind of cool that you get some blank spots here, so dead buttons. So if you were to add on additional auxiliaries, additional buttons, you can do that, which is cool. Here are your seat controls, or seat settings, I should say. So you hit set and then you hold one of them to adjust accordingly. I showed you this before, but you can go to a digital rear view display back here. I have not tinkered with this just yet, but it is a dash cam, which is a $500 option. I like the idea that I have this. So I'm excited to tinker with that and really show you guys a little bit more in depth how you can utilize that. So I've also read briefly that it is impact. It'll detect when the vehicle's been an impact of some sort, and it'll have some automatic recording before and after the impact to help you out if you need to provide it to insurance. That's awesome. And there's your standard with your garage buttons underneath, of course. This right here, this entire system is reason enough to buy the Sequoia TRD Pro, to buy the brand new 2022 and up Tundra TRD Pro. This entire same system, of course, in both. I absolutely love it. I love how intuitive it is. You know, all the buttons down here are all the important buttons that you would use on a regular basis, to include your heat controls here. I have it synchronized right here with the sync button. So if I hit that, I can now, let's do it right, shall we? So there you go. So now they're, the climate is controlled based off the side of the vehicle that you're in. So Mrs. Untamed can set it over here to 100 degrees or whatever, and I can have 68 over here. So, and the rear is very simple too. You just hit the rear button, and then you can adjust turning up the fan speed for the back there. And of course, the temperature control as well. So super easy to use, which I really appreciate. Again, just all the important buttons are right here. Rear center diff lock for off-roading purposes, traction control off and on, the different camera views that you can get around your vehicle. So you can kind of get different views to make sure you're not going to be hitting anything, which is awesome. This entire interface is just super responsive, and I know you're getting a little bit of a frame rate flickering here, but of course, to your naked eye, that's not flickering at all. I just love how quick everything responds within here. Wireless Apple CarPlay is a huge deal nowadays, and a lot of people expect that from their vehicles. And again, Toyota's a little late to the game with it, but I appreciate having it. Wireless charging tray, the Qi charging tray, which works great. I know I've gotten mixed reviews and people not having this work too well for them, but for me, every time I throw it there, I have a very bulky phone case and it charges just fine. A little bit of a small cargo space there. Your electronic e-brake here does have, electronic or automatic transfer case, electronic transfer case, and automatic limited slip differential. And your drive modes here, looking at your fully digital display, we have sport mode, which you notice, guys. If you put it in sport mode, it just is so responsive, and just accelerates phenomenally. So super impressed with the sport mode. I do tend to drive in normal mode, and I've been averaging right around 19 miles per gallon, mainly city driving, that I've experienced, that I've been doing. And you got eco mode, of course, down at the bottom there. So yeah, overall, very impressed with just how simplistic all the buttons are within reach. Everything that you would need is very intuitive and easy to use throughout. Could have done without this AutoZone TRD little thing here. That looks pretty pathetic. But as far as the steering wheel controls go, very simple to use. This is your mode for stereo system here. Your setting cruise, you hit that button there, push down on this little lever, and you're setting cruise. You guys know most people understand this. And then your adaptive cruise control here that detects the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, and your lane keep right here. Personally, I don't like those nannies. I've never really appreciated them, but I tell you what, driving 6.5 hours back from Powell, Wyoming, after we picked this up, after driving 6.5 hours there that day, Mrs. Untamed really appreciated having these two buttons here, this one in particular. So that's great. And of course, your phone controls over here with volume controls and push to speak. So yeah, guys, I know this is a super long video, but I just really wanted to do a whole walk around and inside review of this vehicle. You get a little bit of a cargo space here, very plasticky speaker covers all throughout the JBL sound system. It does have a fake exhaust sound that is pumped through here, but it is subtle compared to the Tundra TRD Pro that I have. You notice it in the Tundra, not so much in this, and it feels right. And this right here, this is a must, having a giant volume control that's easy to use. Your USB port over here, as well as a red TRD push to start. Give you an idea of the large cargo space. So we have quite a bit of paperwork in there, but it is pretty deep beyond that packet. Trying to think if I'm missing any big components. I think that about sums up the big factors. Again, you're looking about $80,000 if you can find it before any kind of dealership markup, right? So many dealerships are running markups on it, which is sickening. But thankfully, I was very, very lucky. I will say lucky to have found one here in my state at MSRP. So let me know what your thoughts are. As always, guys, sorry I made this a super long video, but hopefully for some of you who are shopping for one or shopping for a 3-row vehicle, hopefully this can help you out a little bit. I appreciate you watching as always. Until next time.